Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, TikTok, wherever you are in the world. So honored to come on here and be live with you guys again. I am committed to doing this once a week, coming on here live and sharing not only my story, but stories of some of the women that I have had the honor of walking their own journey with them. And so, for those of you who don't know me that you're jumping on right now, welcome. My name is Darlene. And although I live in Thailand, I'm actually from the beautiful island of Guam. And I'm on TikTok as a widow, but I'm also on here as a woman who is becoming the best version of herself after suffering from significant loss. So today is all about when my life split in two, because July actually marks 11, July 17 will mark 11 years since I lost my first husband, Frank. And so July always brings some tender moments to my heart. My body always remembers. In fact, last night I had such a hard time sleeping, and I didn't really have a lot going on in my headspace, at least not that I could think of. I just wasn't tired. I couldn't sleep. And then I started to have a headache, and it turned into a migraine, which then forced me to sleep. And I finally slept off my migraine and then woke up, and now my belly was upset. I had an upset stomach, and I was like, what is happening right now? And so I had to really sit and think and pray. Always the first thing that I do in the morning is pray to God. And I realized that I was aware of what this month is from a mental perspective, but something that I teach the ladies that are in my community, that it's not just about the mental awareness, it's all about the emotional awareness, and it's also about the physical awareness. And so although I know that this month can bring on some tender moments, I really felt like I am 11 years in. I am a widow coach. I'm a grief coach. I am helping women across the globe through their own journey of grief. So I'm good, right? I'm good. Well, I'm also human. And why I do this isn't because of something that I decided to do one day and or something that I dreamed of as a little girl. I did it because I suffered from significant loss, and that significant loss will always be remembered in my body. And so I had to remember that as I've been moving through this. Hi, Miss Tina. Thank you for joining, sis. So glad that you're here. And to all of you that are here that I don't know who you are, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to be on here probably for about 45 minutes to an hour. 11 years is a lot, right? It's a lot of stuff. I'm not going to share with you guys everything. But before I go into each year that I didn't have Frank in my life, I first want to talk about before he died, because he was such a significant part of my life for a long time. Frank and I became adults together. I was literally his wife, his whole adult life. You know what an honor that is, you guys? If you were your significant other's entire love or love for their entire adult life, you've been together since you were teenagers, like drop a heart in the comments. I'd love to know if you resonate with that story, because as teenagers, we were learning how to be adults together. We had our first child when we were 18. I was actually 17 when I got pregnant, and then had our son when I turned 18. So if you're a widow, type a heart in the chat. I'd love to know who the widows are that are joining my community. But also drop a heart if you've suffered from significant loss, and you know, you're here and you want to learn a little bit more about what that means to navigate that journey of life after loss. So coming back to my story, you know, with Frank, we grew up together, and we eventually had two other kids, two daughters. And so we have 3 adult children now. All of them are happily married. All of them have children. So yes, I am a grandma, and I've been a grandma since before Frank died. We actually had 3 granddaughters before he died, and now our family has grown and we have 9 grandchildren. So super blessed in our family. So blessed. But one of the things that I loved and I will always hold in my heart, Actually, two things. So the first one is when Frank and I got married at the tender age of 19, there were many people in his life that cared for him and just wanted to make sure that he was making the right decision in his life. And so they told him that getting married at such a young age, probably not a good idea, that you guys are going to end up in divorce, because that's what usually happens when people get married too young. And Frank, thank God, did not listen to the noise, and he married me anyway. And he promised me that we would never become a statistic of divorce. And he kept his promise. You guys, we did not have a perfect marriage by any means. Like any other marriage, there were definitely moments where our love was tested, where we both wanted to give up at some point in our marriage, but that never happened, right? And so our love survived the test of time and the test of circumstances, the test of the noise of your environment, people around you. And the other thing that I'm so grateful for is that Frank always said, "I love you," before he left me. He would kiss me goodbye and he would say, "I love you." And those were his last words to me when he left the house the day that he died. And I will never forget that. And I will always be grateful, because there are so many women that I talk to that are just so sad and have a lot of pain in their heart, because that wasn't the last words that they said to their husband or that their husband said to them. And that can bring a lot more pain on top of the pain of losing them, right? And so I'm always so grateful for that. So as I go through the timeline, I kind of wrote it down so I don't forget. As I go through, I would love for you guys to type me too or type a heart if any part of my story resonates with you. I want this to be more of like a conversation than just me talking to you, right? So let me know what resonates. Drop a heart, drop a heart, a hug emoji, whatever it is, so that I know that, this part of my story resonates. You get it. You're going through it right now. You've been through it. And this also helps this community right here to let everyone know that you are not alone in your journey, because I know that this journey a lot of times can feel like you are extremely alone. I get that. I 100% get that. So my husband Frank died in a tragic motorcycle accident on July 17, 2015. He was on his way to a training and warmed up his motorcycle, came back in, was putting on his gloves, and then kissed me goodbye, said, "I love you. Have a good day, honey. I'll see you after work." And that's how he exited the house. And about maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes later, I can't be too sure, but I got a phone call from my sister Connie telling me that my husband Frank got into a motorcycle accident and to head up to Naval Hospital. So those of you that are on Guam, you know what I'm talking about. And those of you that are not, just so you know, Naval Hospital is just one of the hospitals on the island, but it's really meant for the military. And my husband is not in the military, never was. And so I knew that him being taken to Naval Hospital meant that the accident was serious, because it was the closest hospital. And that's what they do. If it's the closest hospital, then they will take you there, even if you're a civilian. So I knew it was serious. Did I believe that my husband didn't make it? No, I didn't. No, in fact, I prayed to God that he was alive. And no matter what, we will get through this. Just make him be alive. Please, God, please. And there was this traffic jam on the road as I was trying to get to Naval Hospital. And at the time, I did not realize that it was Frank's accident that had caused that traffic jam. And so I got creative and I did a U-turn and I went down a back road. And on my way down that back road, I called my son, because I knew that he was traveling on another road that probably didn't have the traffic that I had. And I told him to get to Naval Hospital. I knew he could get there faster than me. And when he got up there, he obviously was the one who discovered that his dad didn't make it. And when my son saw me, when I ran through the emergency room doors, and he looked at me And he yelled mom in the painful, most painful way ever. I knew in that moment that Frank did not make it. And that moment always feels so, like I could feel it in my stomach right now. It doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't feel good. And that is the moment that my life split in two, right? The before and the after. Of course, honey, of course, always keeping his memory alive. And that's one of the beautiful things that I love about what I do. So I'll tell you guys, early on in my journey, I didn't want to live. I just wanted to be with him. I knew that my kids were good. They all had partners of their own. 2 of them were married. 1 of them was engaged. And I just wanted to be with him. And I remember every day waking up, realizing that I'm still here on this earth and pissed off, just upset. Like, why am I here? Like, I want to be in heaven with him. And I wrestled with God. I wrestled with my faith. I was angry at Frank for leaving me. And so those early days were just so hard to get through. But there was a moment in time when I finally surrendered and I said to God, whatever the reason is, I'll never understand why you took my husband. But there must be a reason that I'm still here. So please give me that reason. Give me a reason. Give me a reason to wake up every morning. This right here, what I'm doing now, sharing my story, that is what I call giving grief a voice. And that was the very first thing that God revealed to me, that I needed to give grief a voice. And obviously that purpose has evolved over time. I became a grief recovery specialist the year after. So early in 2016, I became a grief recovery specialist. And I'll go there in just a moment. But I want to stay right now in 2015 because I want to acknowledge the people that held me up when I could not hold myself up. And this is something that I always say about when I die. There's no place that I want to be when I die or where I'm going to be buried is in Guam. My family, my friends, my coworkers, Frank's coworkers, Frank's friends, it felt like the entire island community was, first of all, at the hospital when he died. I couldn't believe it. I remember looking up and seeing all my coworkers and I'm like, who is running the operation if you guys are all here? Who's watching the prisoners if all of you are here? Frank was a correction officer at the time. It was amazingly wild to see all of those people there. And this is why I always say, like, Guam is the best place to be when someone you love dies or when you die, so that you know your family is going to be held. If you're from Guam, drop a heart or drop a Guam flag. Let me know that you are from Guam, because we got to give our island community so much love, because we come together as a community like we never have before. And I just love that about our island, right? And so everyone held me up when I could not hold up myself, right? Guys, if you are watching this and if any of this is resonating, I would love it if you would share it in your own community, share it on your profile, so that people that are grieving, people that feel alone in their life can come and join us here for the next 45 minutes, and so that they can feel less alone. I would appreciate it if you guys would do that. That would be amazing. And so those first hours, those first days, those first months, I felt so held. And I'm so grateful for my family, first of all, my friends, my coworkers, Frank's friends, Frank's coworkers, um, even people that were not friends of mine, but maybe friends of my mom's, or friends of my dad's, or friends of my kids, or friends of my siblings. Like, that's how island community comes together. It's just absolutely phenomenal, to be on Guam when you're suffering a loss. So that was 2015. Didn't want to live. Experienced lots of my first Christmas, New Year's. May have shared this before, but I'm going to share this again because this one is very significant for me. Every holiday that happened, my very first ones, like, I wanted to be around my family. Didn't want to be alone. But New Year's Eve, so if you're from Guam, you're familiar with Tizen. And so we lived on the cliff line in Tizen. So we had the best view for the fireworks. We could see fireworks in Aganya. We could see fireworks down at, Aganya was this way, and then Tumon, and then like there was something going on in the north. Like, so we were literally like 3 places that we could actually see fireworks. So sometimes people would just come with their beverages and their chairs, their blankets, whatever. And they're like, hey, can we just hang out in your backyard? And we always had a party back there. People were always welcome to come and watch the fireworks at the Garcia home on New Year's Eve. Frank and I shared that first kiss of the year, every single year. I did not want to share that first kiss with anybody. My mom and dad offered to rope me into their, love, Happy New Year. My kids did, my grandchildren. And I'm going to be honest, like, I love them all so much. And I'm so grateful that they even thought of me to include me in that space. But I didn't want to ring in the New Year with anyone but him. And I didn't want to take away their first New Year kiss with their loved one. So instead, I chose to celebrate New Year's Eve by myself, closing my eyes, going to bed, waking up, it's New Year the next day, and then just wishing everybody Happy New Year at that point. But New Year's Eve was just too painful that I didn't want to do it. And so I want you guys to know that if you're going through that journey in your life and holidays or celebrations feel like, don't want to do it, give yourself grace and give yourself permission to not do it. There is no rule book that says that you have to do it. You should not ever have to do anything alone, but you get to choose if you want to be alone, if that makes sense, right? So give yourself permission if you feel like in this moment, in this season, in this celebration, in this holiday, I just don't feel like being around others, and I just want to be alone in my room, releasing my emotions. Or I just want to be with my immediate family. I don't want to go to any big parties. I just want to be around my kids and my grandkids, and that is it. Like, whatever feels the best for you in your heart, trust your heart, trust your gut, and give yourself grace and give yourself permission to do what it is that you need to do for you. Drop a heart if you've been through some of those first and you have people kind of pressuring you. You got to get out. You can't be by yourself. Like, come here, come there. Like, I'm not giving you a choice. How many of you have had that, right? Sometimes it works and it's like, oh, thank you for taking me out. Actually, that was a really good thing. And sometimes it's just like, nope, that was not a good thing, right? So you know best, right? Must have felt like you were looking at a long, narrow road ahead of the new year. Oh my gosh, Jan, yes, it really did feel like that. Every year that passed, I just couldn't believe it. It was another year without Frank. And then we'll get to 2019 and I'll share with you when that actually changed for me. So hold tight on that. Yep. No decisions, no plans, just a road. Yeah, sometimes that's just all it is. And you just go on this journey and you will be surprised at what you find on this road. You don't have to make a decision right now. You don't have to make a plan right now. But sometimes on that road, you will discover people along that road that are there to support you and guide you. How old were you when he passed? I was 43. I was 43 years old when Frank passed. We were both 43. Yeah. This year I decided to spend my birthday alone. I wanted to sit with memories of Frank. Yeah. And honey, sister, like, if that is what makes you feel comfortable and that brings your heart peace, then yeah, that's what you do. That's what you do, right? Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. So I want to go into 2016 and the first year, I like to call it angelversary. So obviously it's death anniversary in the technical terms, but I like to call it angelversary because I really believe that Frank is our guardian angel in this life now. And so in that first year, in fact, before July 17, 2016, about maybe 6 months before that, we were already planning the first year. And, on Guam, it's significant, right? It's significant. Year 1, year 5, year 10, you kind of do that. Like every year in between, you always want to say a prayer, have mass, do the things with your family, but you have those milestones, and especially the first year. So in that first year, we were already planning Frank's angelversary 6 months prior. And so I am Catholic. And so we have 9 days of rosary or mass. We did both for both when he died and also when he, during the first year. And so we did both. And the reason we did, everyone has a different thing. And anyways, I don't need to go there, but we did both. But we also did something different. I wanted to honor Frank in the man that he was to all of us. I wanted people to remember him. I didn't want this to just be sad. I didn't want this to just be prayers and food and that is it. Like, that wasn't Frank. Frank was about celebration. Frank was about seeing the silver lining. Frank was about seeing beyond what most of us could see. And so I wanted to recognize and pay tribute to different parts of his life that he loved. And so every day of the 9 days, we had a theme. And my kids helped me to come up with the themes. And I think, our friends and family and Frank's family and stuff. But we came up with 9 different themes. And I'll just tell you about one of them. So Frank was a big superhero fan. And he was Marvel and DC. But his favorite superhero was Superman. And so on one day, we had superhero day, and that was the theme. And so with that theme, we encouraged people, like you didn't have to, but we encouraged people to come in your favorite superhero t-shirt. And actually a lot of the kids came in their favorite superhero costume, right? So it was really cute to see that. But here's where the magic actually happened. It wasn't just the people on Guam that actually came to the event that joined in. We had Frank's family and friends in the States that couldn't join us, that still dressed up on that day in their favorite superhero t-shirt, sent us the pictures to let us know that they are honoring Frank right alongside us. And then there were people on Guam who couldn't make it that night, but still dressed in their favorite superhero t-shirt and sent me pictures and said, "Hey, Dar, I'm not able to make it tonight, but I want you to know that we're thinking of you, we're praying for Frank, and we're honoring him right here with our shirt." That is the magic of community. And this is what I mean about Guam being just absolutely amazing. There was another night, Frank's got a sleeve, right? A tattoo, and several on his legs. And every single one of his tattoos came from Japan. So Japan was his favorite place on earth to visit. Ours together, right, at the time. And so one night was Japan night. And so on that night, we had Japanese food. Like everybody that brought food, the theme was Japanese. And so everything was Japanese food. But also one of Frank's really good friends, who's a tattoo artist, together, him and I, we created just a little tribute tattoo. And so whatever that tribute tattoo was, that night, he gave free tattoos out to close friends and family that wanted to have that tribute tattoo on them. And again, it was just a small one. Like some people had it like right here. Some people had it like, like right here on their back or whatever. But it was small, very small. Honestly, it was Japanese characters. I think it was dragon. I think it might've been, cause that was like Frank's, like he loved dragons or something. Don't quote me on that, but so we did that. And so just to kind of give you an idea, like we did some really amazing things over the 9 nights, and it really encouraged and inspired people to come on those nights, because they're like, what are they doing the next night? And so it wasn't just about honoring the dead and mourning still. I didn't want us to be mourning. Like, don't get me wrong, I cried every night. I really did, especially when I was thanking everybody and doing the prayers, but it was also fun. Like we were just celebrating Frank and appreciating him for the man that he was and sharing the most beautiful memories about him. And so we made it both joy and sadness. We made it both grief and gratitude. And it's what's what I teach now, right? So I had no idea that I was already practicing that early on in my journey. So that was 2016. 2017. 2017 was when it was the year that the quiet got loud. Here's what I mean by that. On the day of Frank's angelversary, July 17, 2017, it was just my kids and I. We decided we all wanted it to just be us. And I just want to do anything. My heart was heavy. I missed him so much. I guess the adrenaline of everything that we did in 2016 had died down. You know, the first year I was numb. People carried me. And so this was the first year that the quiet and the aloneness really settled in. And I'll be honest, it didn't feel good. So the kids and I had already decided, I think about a week or two before that we were going to go to Leo Palace and bowl at the bowling alley there, one of the places that Frank loved to take the kids when they were younger. And so they wanted to honor their dad at that place. And so we decided we were going to go there. And that morning I woke up and I was just grieving so heavily. In fact, I slept with Frank's urn that night. He was in my bed with me. I hugged it, fell asleep crying, and still woke up that morning. And I just didn't want to go. I didn't want to get out of bed. And my girls didn't know what to do. And so when my son came over, he just came in and he laid on the bed and hugged me and allowed me to cry and just share everything. Share my pain, share my frustration, share my anger, share my loneliness. And then he said, Mom, it's okay if you don't want to go with us. Like, if you want to just stay home, that's okay. He's like, but we're going to go. We're going to take the kids. We're going to honor Dad. We would love for you to come with us. But if you don't feel like it, then that's okay. We're going to leave in about an hour, right? And we're still here. So let us know what you want to do. And just by him not pressuring me and telling me that I should go or I have to go and allowing me to give myself permission to do what it was that I needed to do for me, I went, you guys, I went. And this is the thing, right? And if you are someone who maybe hasn't lost yet, but you're like, how do I help the person that I love so much because they are grieving? Like, I want you to know that you just be there for them. Like, don't force them to do anything they don't want to do. Like, hold space. Like, when people say, how do you hold space? That's how you hold space, right? I think it was more for me than for him, just to make me feel better. Yeah. My kids were so young when their dad passed, and my son insisted on going to Tarza Water Park. Aw, amazing. Frank used to work at Tarza, Jan, like back in the day when in his 20s, before he could figure out what he really wanted to do. Wow. What a small world. Yes, my kids are absolutely amazing. They are. And so when you don't put the pressure on people to fit into your idea of how they should grieve, they will appreciate you so much more, right? Because they know best what they need for themselves. And sometimes they just need to sit in it. Sometimes they don't need to hurry up and finish grieving. Like, grief doesn't end. It's a journey. Right. So I want you to remember that. My kids doing that early on in my journey was just so amazing. They supported Mom in all the things. And I am just so grateful for that. All right. In the beginning of time, I just go back a little bit in 2017, because this was also the year that I retired from my corporate job. And Frank was already talking about this 2 years prior to me retiring. We had already set the plan in motion that when I reached 25 years of service, I was going to retire. We were going to, leave Guam and just kind of travel and do the nomad thing, right? Just kind of live. He wanted to live off of the land. And I'm thinking, dude, really? Like, he wanted to go to Alaska and grow his beard and live off of the land. And I'm like, I'm not sure that was my idea of retirement, but we would laugh about like the differences in how we wanted to retire, but we did agree that we wanted to travel. And, one of the things we joked about was that we were going to stay with each of our kids maybe a month at a time or until they got tired of us, and then we'd move on to the next kid, that's kind of what we did. And so I retired still. And it was so bittersweet for me because I really believe that this retirement was as much Frank's as it was mine, because he supported this journey of my career, but also I was in this career a lot for him. So I worked for the airline, and Frank is from California. And so to be able to have those travel benefits when you live on an island that it costs money to have to go anywhere, having those travel benefits allowed us to be able to get to California if we ever needed to. Like, we always think about, like, what if, right? What if his dad or his mom got sick? What if someone died? What if he just needed to get home to help with something and we couldn't afford to do that? Like, I didn't want my husband to feel trapped that he couldn't get to his family at any given time. And so working for the airline was as much for me as it was for him. Right? It wasn't about, oh, let's get free benefits and let's go fly and take all these vacations. It was really more of a need. We needed it because we couldn't afford for us to travel from Guam to California just at the blink of an eye or the snap of a finger. And so this really helped us to do that. So again, that retirement was as much as it was Frank's as much as it was mine. 2018 was the year I let go and stepped into the unknown. What do I mean by that? 2018 was the year that I moved to Guam. I'm sorry, to Virginia. I was living in Guam. 2018 was the year I moved to Virginia. I left, and was also the year that my kids and I decided that we were going to bury Frank. So he was at home for 3 years, on the shelf, in a mantle, and in my room every night. And we decided that when I was leaving that we would bury him. Number one, Frank was heavy. We've tried traveling with him. Trust me, we have, and he is heavy. But I also didn't want to be selfish, and I knew that people wanted to visit Frank. Even though I told them, hey, you guys can come and visit him anytime at our home. You're always welcome. It's not as comfortable, right, for someone to just go to the cemetery and be able to talk to him the way they want to talk to him. And so this gave people an opportunity to pay their respects and to go and visit him when they wanted to. And just this last trip that I was on Guam and I went to go visit him and say goodbye, there was a Michelob Ultra beer can that was right there at his niche, and I just smiled because I knew that it was someone that came up to spend some time with him and drink with him and left the Michelob Ultra up there. So I thought that was really sweet that they did that. So it also reinforces and validates that we made the right decision in burying Frank when we did, right? When we did. I'd love to know, like, if your loved one is still at home with you or if you buried them. Let me know in the chat, what you've decided. And again, there is no right or wrong way. There's only your way. And I know that, a lot of it can be around religious beliefs, cultural beliefs or traditions, familial beliefs and traditions, what you've seen in the past in your own family. And I'll be honest, when Frank died, everything that I believed when he was alive, none of it felt right when he died. So I had to do what I felt was right for me and my kids at the time. And a lot of it went against tradition. And I did what was right for us. 2018, I left, and but before I left, that's where I was going. We buried Frank, and I will tell you, like, that decision also brought on some emotions, because I, number one, did not want to have another funeral. Like, I could not go through another funeral. So we made it very intimate. It was just our immediate family, my immediate family, because Frank's family doesn't live on Guam. So my immediate family and a few of Frank's close friends that came. And it was still so hard for me to do. And I know that right up until the day before, I was having second thoughts and I was freaking out. And I remember my friend Ashley, for whatever reason, she said I came to her mind. So she checked in, called me up, like didn't even text. She literally called me on the phone, and she lives in Baltimore. Okay. So she calls me, and the moment I hear her voice, I break down and I'm telling her everything that I'm feeling. And again, she just held space for me. She listened. She didn't offer advice. She didn't tell me what to do. She didn't tell me that I was crazy. She just allowed me to share everything that I was feeling. And, as I reflect on all of these different moments in my life when I needed someone and they were there, I have to tell you guys that I never believed that those things happen by chance, that I believe that everything happens because God made it happen. And I don't know where you're at, and I'm not trying to throw religion on you at all here. But my beliefs is because when I said, God, give me a reason to wake up every morning, He has blessed me in ways that I'm just so grateful. And it just blows my mind sometimes to see what has transpired over the last 11 years. And again, there's a reason that I'm here, and this is it. This is what I'm doing. This is my reason for still being alive and still being here. And this is the reason that Frank is not here, because I would not be doing this work if Frank was still here. I would not have met some of the most amazing women that I get to go on the journey with them if Frank was still here. And so it becomes this moment in your life when you can look at your loss and finally give it meaning, right? It doesn't take away the tenderness of I miss them, I love them. And honestly, and I say this all the time, if someone said, I am a genie in a bottle and I'm going to grant you that wish of having him back, of course, I want him to meet his 6 grandkids that he hasn't met yet, right? I'm telling you. But we know that this is not possible. And so we just have to give our loss meaning. The grief and the gratitude can sit side by side, can coexist. The joy and the sadness can coexist. Find your meaning. It must have felt like experiencing his death again, going through his burial. It did and it didn't, Jan. Like I said, I was intentional about not making it this big thing. It was super intimate. It was hard to put him inside the niche and have them cover it up and never see that urn again, because that urn was dressed up during every single holiday, and it came with us to restaurants. It traveled with us to Japan and to California. And so it was hard, right? It was hard, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, because I had released my human emotions the day before, and I, was just very, very open and honest with how I felt and didn't try and stuff things down or intellectualize what was happening, right? Yes, we decided we were going to do this. Yes, I had second thoughts about it. Yes, I was going to miss having his urn around. Yes, it was time for him to be buried and have a resting place. Yes, this was the right decision. Yes, I'm going to miss him. But I visited him, I think every day after we did that until the day that I left, right? So you can have both of them coexist in your life. You just have to give it meaning, right? Give it a meaning that is going to be able to sit with you in your heart, and that's something that you can carry with you. So let's go to 2019. 2019 is the year I became my own mirror. What do I mean by that? Before Frank died, he was my mirror. He was the one who validated that I was beautiful, that I was smart, that I was worthy. my confidence, my joy, my peace, my safety, everything came from him. That's what I believed when he died, because I didn't know how to be me without him. And so I really believed that everything is just this co-regulation of being with someone for so long, right? Frank and I were co-regulated for 26 years, married for 24. And so I didn't know how to exist without him. And so 2019 was the year I became my own mirror. It was the year that I truly discovered myself again and realized that I could do this. Realized that I could love myself. Realized that I was smart enough, that I was strong enough. And when I had that, that was the first time that I truly understood what self-love actually meant, and also realized, and this is what I help women understand, is it has to be the foundation of everything that you do in your life. Because when you love yourself enough, you will choose yourself. You will choose healing. You will choose to invest in yourself in ways that you never have before. You will choose to set boundaries when you need to set boundaries. You will choose you. And that doesn't mean that I became selfish and that nobody else in the world mattered. It meant that I needed to fill my cup so that I could pour from a full cup for my children, for my clients, for my family, for Frank's family. That's what I mean, right? Self-love is so deeply important, especially when you've suffered significant loss, especially if you're a widow. Because we all say this, right? I feel like half of me died. Well, of course we're going to say that, because when we got married, what do they say to us? Right? The two become one. So of course, when you believe that in your mind and in your heart, you're co-regulated, you're one, and then all of a sudden one's gone, you do feel like half, right? I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. I described it that way too. So you have to learn how to be you again. And the truth is that we're always whole. We never become half. Does a version of us die or no longer exist when our husband dies? Yeah, I believe that. The version that I was when Frank was alive does not exist anymore. But that doesn't mean that I'm not whole. It just means that I needed to rediscover who Dar is by just being Dar. And it was such a beautiful revelation, to be honest with you guys. And it doesn't mean that I've forgotten, like all of you know this, that know me, Frank is always a part of everything that I do. And I like to joke with him a lot of times, because I still talk to him, that he's so much more famous than he ever was when he was alive. Like, Frank was the guy that was in the shadows, and he would be like, babe, say this. You go do it, and push me to the front, right? So I'd always be the voice, but he was the brain behind a lot of it. He was the words behind everything. And I just would say it because I was more comfortable doing that. And he was not. He preferred being in the background. And, but he was always that guy who saw so much more. He could see beyond what I could see always, right? And that's what I loved about him. 2020, the year I had to honor him differently. That was the year of COVID, if all of you remember, right? And so I was in Canada already by this time. Mick and I were living together. And for those of you that don't know, Mick is my husband now. He is my chapter 2. And in 2020 was Frank's 5th year, angelversary. And my kids and I and Frank's family, we had already planned, like, after the first year, we had already said, okay, on year 5, it's going to be the next milestone, and we're all going to gather again on Guam and have, like, a nice big honoring and tribute to Frank. And so that was always the plan. Frank, died on his Harley. He was in a motorcycle club, and the motorcycle club was going to do a tribute ride around the island, for him, and then end up at his gravesite. And so we had some big plans. And COVID changed that for us because we couldn't travel around that time. And I remember feeling so guilty, feeling so sad, feeling just like defeated. I felt so defeated. Like, what do you mean I cannot go and do this? We had planned this for years. And I remember just feeling so alone. And even Mick couldn't help me with my pain. Like, I just needed to feel it. And I was crying like every day. And then finally, my mom and I spoke on the phone. And, she, again, she was now my safe space during this particular situation, this experience. She allowed me to share my frustrations, to cry, to scream, to yell, to feel defeated, to feel lost, whatever it was. She didn't tell me, don't feel like that. She just allowed me to do it. And this is the thing, when those things happen and you have someone safe to be able to do that, it's this release, right? It's this release. And so once I had that release, then mom said, okay, honey, now that we know that we can't do this, what else can we do? Or what can we do instead? Because we can still honor Frank. It's not going to be the same, but let's come up with some creative ways together. And we did. And it turned out so beautiful. And in fact, Frank's family and friends were so grateful because now they could participate, because a lot of them couldn't make the trip to Guam. It was too expensive, right? And so they loved that we were doing things online and that they got to participate. And it was like a whole week of like just posting on inside our little intimate private group that honors Frank, and kind of similar to what we did in the first year, but it was smaller scale, but we were able to do it all online. And then in that final, on the day of, friends and family got on Zoom, and we toasted to Frank, and we all shared some memories about him, and it was beautiful, right? It was just so beautiful. So that was 2020. And 2021 and 2022, that was the year of rediscovering me in my chapter 2, right? So imagine this is me, and I'm with Mick now, and really just like learning how to love again, how to coexist again with someone else. And, and that's not always easy, especially after you have worked so hard to just be you and learn how to do things on your own and be independent. And I was proud of that independence. I was proud that I could do this and find my strength again. And so to have to learn how to co-regulate and coexist and have a shared life, that wasn't always easy as well, right? But Mick, being the amazing and supportive and kind and gentle and patient person that he is, we got through all of it. And you know how a lot of people didn't survive, a lot of relationships didn't survive COVID, because people were just like in each other's space and just couldn't handle like being together. They needed to breathe, and it really created a lot of dysfunction, dysregulation, and toxicity within families. But for Mick and I, it was a complete opposite. We got to learn and grow with each other, and we loved being with each other every single moment of the day, which was really, really interesting for me, but also very refreshing. And he taught me a lot about patience, and I learned so much about the coexistence of two loves, having two loves. And so that's what 21, 22 taught me. And then 2023 was the year that my purpose became very clear. This was the year that I met my mentor, Richmond, and we together created an environment for widows, a widow community. And so I really focus now more on widows, but it's also the year that Mick proposed to me. And so we decided that we were going to get married, and that was pretty amazing. And so, yeah, this journey of where I'm at now with women, and I have so much gratitude in my heart for the work that I do, because the ladies have really helped me to evolve and expand my own thinking and learning and development, so that I could be fully present for them, because all of our stories are so different. We have shared or similar losses in losing a spouse, but every single one of our stories is unique and individual to us. And so by working with all of these women, I have learned and learned to grow and adapt and have a more open mind to all of the different nuances of widowhood, and what are some of the other things that women have gone through that I have not gone through. And so I've had the privilege of learning all of these stories so that together we can coexist and support and cheer each other on in what I now call the Chapter 2 movement. And so it's been so beautiful to be able to do that. 2024 is the year Mick and I got married. So this is the year that I say I truly stepped into my Chapter 2. And this year was pivotal for me because it wasn't about like, I'm married now, I have a husband, like Frank doesn't exist. Chapter 1 never gets erased. Chapter 1 always gets to come along and be a part of this amazing Chapter 2 life that I'm living, right? And so this is the year that I get to live and show the world that your heart expands when you love another, that loving again is not a replacement of the love that came before, and that it truly is a gift, right? God created us to coexist with each other. Human connection is one of the basic human needs that we have in life, right? And if you do believe in God, then you know that He is there and He blesses the widows and the orphans, right? He never wants us to be alone. And so I believe if you're a widow and you don't have to be ready now, maybe you never will be, and that's okay. Because I always say that you always want to start off with first learning how to love yourself from the deepest parts of you. And that's really where I believe that Mick and I met our crossroads, right? Our roads crossed when I was at that pivotal moment in my life of like self-love was the foundation of everything that I embodied. And meeting Mick at that moment allowed our energies to align. And that's what I believe happened there. And everybody's story will be different, right? Everyone's story will be different. So 2024, yep, year of rediscovering me. 2025, the year my story became legacy. And I say that because that was the year I wrote my book, Love Again. And I do have that up there somewhere on my desk. I think I do. Oh, what do I mean? I have it. I have a bunch of copies up here. Here we go. Right. So this is my book, Love Again. And I wrote this in 2025. It took me a while and it wasn't easy because there's a big part of this story in here that is a story of Frank and losing him. And so this story is my Chapter 1 and my Chapter 2 in this book. And writing this book really allowed me to not only get my story out there in written form, but this book has the roadmap that I never had, right? I didn't have a roadmap. I had to learn from different places and different people and pull it all together to help me through my own healing journey. And it was a journey, and it was not easy, and it was lonely. And so I was able then to take what I learned over the years, a few widows in the beginning that shared their stories and allowed me to take what I learned from their stories and create the frameworks and the roadmap that none of us ever had in our lives. And now it's the gift that I give to everyone that is going through significant loss. This book has that roadmap. And so that is 2025. 2026, this is where we are, you guys. This is the year that I embodied awareness in such a deep way. Some of the frameworks that I created, one of the biggest ones is you first must become aware. And I am constantly going down that rabbit hole of awareness, if you will, and constantly embodying it. Just like I did this morning when I had to become aware that I was mentally aware that July is a month of honoring Frank and remembering him in all ways. But I had to also remember that awareness is also emotional. What was I feeling? and it's also physical. Where am I feeling it in my body? And my body told me before I could even answer that by waking up with my tummy not feeling good and going to bed with a migraine. So listen to your body. Allow your heart to feel the human emotions, because grief is not logical, right? It's emotional. So we are coming up to the full hour. I am so honored for those of you that stuck around. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for engaging. One last thing I'd love from you guys, if any of this resonated with you, if you felt any of my story, would love for you to just go into my DMs and let me know what was the one thing that you resonated with, or that you are grateful for, that you heard on here, what brought you value. I'd love to know. And then we can take this conversation offline, because I'm always honored to hear other women's stories and what you're going through, so that you don't ever have to feel like you're alone. All those stories that I talked to you about, with all the people in different times in my life that held space for me, right? In the beginning, it was my village, it was everyone, then my son, then my friend Ashley, then my mom, right? There's always going to be someone in your life that is going to be able to do that for you. And those were just some of the stories. That's not even all of it. And so I just want you guys to know that if you're on here and you know that you were one of those people that held me, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I will never forget you. Always be grateful to you for what you did for me. And now I'm paying it forward by being here for this community. So can't wait to see you guys in the DMs. Take care wherever you are in the world. Be safe, especially if you're in Guam with a big typhoon that is approaching the island. Please bunker down and stay safe. And I will be praying for all of you. All right, ladies and gents, if there's gents on here, love you all so much. Have a great day. Take care.